Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again. Believing a power greater than what you are going through. When you don't know what to do, keep breathing.
That's right. When you don't know what to do, just keep on breathing. From the city of angels in Los Angeles, some would say the fallen angels these days, but we won't get into that. Welcome to all my listeners out there in Radio Land. I'm Dave, the Caregiver's Caregiver at caregiverdave.com. And also coming to you live and on demand 24/7 on numerous syndicated radio and podcast networks on 26 global audio and video platforms, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Vimeo, Stitcher Radio, just too many to mention. In fact, we are proud to be voted #1 caregiver podcast of the top 50 on Player FM, #1 caregiver podcast on FeedSpot out of thousands, and #1 on caringvillage.com. And we have an especially exciting show planned for you today. Phyllis Anderson, founder and creator of Carefolio, our healthcare journal, an organized solution for stress-free care, enabling caregivers to focus on excellence. And she will explain all that to us in a bit. But first, I want to take this moment and thank my last week's guest. These are keynote speakers at the upcoming event, the Global Caregiver Network, and it's going to be taking place November 10 and 11. So we interviewed Mr. and Mrs. Keith Demps, Mary Beal, Tony Gitlis, and Dr. Attell Lords, as well as me. We're all going to be speaking there. And I would encourage everyone to go to globalcaregivernetwork.com/events to reserve your spot. And just a reminder, you can watch or listen to that interview and all our interviews on our membership website, including this one, caregiverdave.com, or any of our other 26 global audio video platforms that I mentioned earlier. All right, enough of that. Phyllis, welcome to the Caregiver Dave Show. So great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here.
I just briefly mentioned something. I like to ask my guests just who is Phyllis Anderson and why was she placed on this earth? How's that for a first?
That's really wonderful. So I'm Phyllis Anderson, and I am the oldest of 8 kids, and I think that's important because the Carefolio is, and I became a nurse. So I was a caregiver from the time, just from my birthplace, right? Birth order. And so the oldest of 8 kids, my youngest sister is 16 years younger than me. So I have been doing this a long time. And then at 22 years old, I went into nursing. I just was curious about it. I felt the nudge to pursue a career in nursing. So I thought, let's volunteer and see if I can even handle the hospital. And I was helping a nurse just care for a gentleman who really had no voice. He was elderly. He required us to do everything for him. And so I just really thought the word advocacy is just something that is important to me. And I thought, this man can trust me. I'm here as, I'm an angel, really, right? We all need our angels to take care of us. And I thought, I want to be that for people. I want to be that person they can trust and offer dignified care when you're in a place of vulnerability like this. And so that is when I decided the nursing career was for me. So I spent 28 years total between being a nurse's aide. So I went on and got my CNA, and then found myself in a doctor's office. I had 3 years actually in a doctor's office, got my foot in the door at the hospital as a telemetry monitor tech, unit clerk, and finished my nursing program. And so for 22 years, I essentially spent all of that in the emergency room, 6 months on telemetry. And then my parents own 2 care facilities for people with dementia. And really? Because I'm a registered nurse, so I was able to, because in the state of California, they have, specific, whatever. I was able to train the staff with my registered nurse license. And so I found myself doing that too. And I never thought of myself as an educator, but I loved it. So for 10 years, I trained the staff alongside working in the emergency room. So I love being busy. I love really helping people and caregivers learn and know that, you know what, your job is important, and you're heroes, right? Without capes, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, absolutely. So I feel like it is such an important thing that we're doing and providing for people. And so I'm here to just spread the word that, well, and then with Carefolio, I wanted to create a, yeah, stress-free care by offering a user-friendly design of a medical journal so that you could use it at the bedside to care for others or even care for yourself if you find yourself in a spot where you're needing some extra health care.
It makes sense how you develop this. I mean, you're a caregiver at heart, a nurse. That is the ultimate caregiver. Nurses who, work long hours, get very little appreciation, burn out a lot,
Yes.
and don't take care of themselves. And then to have your parents own a care facility that you were involved in, I'm sure not only helping, but training the staff. How involved were your parents in the facility? What did they do?
Oh my goodness, so as owners and operators, they were hands-on themselves. So you'll
Okay.
still find my mom. She's 74 years old. She is still
Wow.
there on the daily. Yep, just
Bummer.
like if she needs to be cooking in the kitchen, she's cooking in the kitchen. She's not giving any personal care anymore, but that's how she started. So, and she was not that kind of a caregiver at all. And she found herself in that spot, and she did what she needed to do. And her heart, I have a big heart, but I swear my mom's is 10 times bigger than mine. And mine's pretty big. So,
Well, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say. And it sounds like she runs an excellent care facility. I know,
it is.
my mother had dementia and needed a place, and it wasn't easy to find it. Then my mother-in-law needed a place. It wasn't easy to find it. And now my aunt, my sister's mother, is not there yet, but she definitely has dementia. She's in a independent living with a boyfriend who's getting a little dementia himself. I know it won't be long for us to find a facility for them, but boy, if I needed one, it sounds like your parents' place is the place for me. I think I'd be taken care of very well, huh?
Well, I say that my name is already on the wait list because it's amazing care. And working in the emergency room, we've seen all sorts of, different care facilities and the patients that would come in. It's important to do your interview and you find when you do have to look for placement. The goal is all keep people home as long as you can.
What city are you in? The facility.
Santa Maria, California.
Wow, I know Santa Maria.
Santa Maria, California.
I'm here in Santa Clarita Valley, on the Interstate 5. I own a gas station. That's my main focus when I'm not caregiving my wife, who had a stroke 27 years ago and is speech impaired and paralyzed on the right side. And so
oh my God.
That is a wonderful place, Santa Maria. I will keep that in mind. I'll put that down in my long care policy of places that I would like to go. And do they have any openings, by the way? How many beds do they have? There's a commercial for your parents here.
So there's two 14-bed facilities. I know. I'm just going to put it out there. It's Magnolia and Primrose Care Facilities in Santa Maria, California. And it's in Orchid, really. It's in the southern part of the city. And it's a very rural setting. So it's just absolutely beautiful. They were two big, beautiful homes on 2.5 acres. And it's a gated facility. So the residents can walk in and out of the house. They just can't get out of this, a gated part.
Is it good for
so
dementia?
They're safe.
Good for dementia.
Yeah, they're absolutely safe. And they have it's memory care. So it's dementia. Okay. It's any form of memory loss. But we've also taken care of hospice patients. Sure. We've done some respite care. Really, anybody can go there, but our focus and our specialty is memory loss.
So there's 2 homes on the property.
Yeah.
And each one is 14 beds?
Yes, so 28 beds. And we have a wait list usually. And
so you're full and you have a waiting list.
Yeah, full with a waiting list.
And how many are on your waiting list?
Well, I believe it was 11 the last time I checked with my mom, and that was just about a month ago. So,
and you're one of the names on there.
But people are not always ready to place.
Right. You never know.
Yeah, no.
That's right. You don't want to do it too early. You don't want to do it too late.
You never know.
So when?
Yeah, I just tease about it, but I mean, my husband. Oh.
Yeah, I was saying, there's a lot of burned out caregivers listening. When would you recommend that they start looking for a facility? Like it says, you can't do it too soon, but you can't do it too late either. You don't want to wait till you're, waking up every 2 hours, turning them so they don't get bed sores. You want to do that before that. How do you notice the red flags that it's time to start thinking about, it's time to start looking? What's the best way?
Goodness. Well, I can speak from personal experience. My mother-in-law just recently, we had to place my father-in-law into a care facility, and it wasn't ours because it was full. But he's in a great place, and I went with her and we checked it out. But here's the thing. She really wanted to keep him home as long as she could, rightfully so. Sure. It's her husband of 60 years.
Wow.
And we were watching her health start to decline. Yep. She was looking exhausted. She wasn't sleeping. She was having anxiety. Oh my goodness. She was not able to physically get him to do things. So that's the other thing is when they start to resist care and you start to notice that, I would say you need to be looking for a facility. Just go out and look at the different facilities so that you're ready. And it's not this crisis mode. Oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. Blah, and you're freaking out. It's called, what am I trying to say? If you fail to plan, or what is it? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
Don't be in putting the fire out mode, always putting fires out.
Yeah, and it's hard because you think, oh, it's way out there. Yes, preventative. Prevention is like my middle name. Is, just start to do your research. And then, so it's not, because also there's things, right? I'm not sure about other states, but in California, you have to have a TB test, and that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen immediately. So there's things you have to do ahead of time that are good for 6 months. So you can prepare for it. The other thing is get the different agencies in your home, whether it's some home care or maybe an extra caregiver to give you some time to go out and do your grocery shopping and go to the movies with a friend. And self-care is a big thing that I promote to people is you've got to take care of yourself first. Absolutely. Think about pulling your heart out. Yeah, if you pull your heart out and you're handing it to somebody, and then you pull another heart shape and another heart shape, and you're giving your heart, you have nothing. You're just pouring out.
Give and give and give. Nothing left to give.
Yeah, you just give and give. And so it's important that you fill your cup, and you may think, oh, that's selfish. It is not. You need to take care of you, a caregiver. So my Carefolio starts out with that is self-care. That's the first page you come to. Did you follow
your own advice when you placed your father-in-law? You did it all. You followed all the rules, or did you miss some?
Yes. Well, we tried. So we encouraged her to place him, but she wasn't quite ready. And then, of course, the day came where she said, I can't do this anymore. And it was frantic and it was tearful. And so thankfully I've got good connections. So I called a resource. I don't know if other people have them, but there's a placement agency in town, and they're wonderful. They're free. So you call up their placement agency. They come to you to do a little evaluation. They talked to my mother-in-law. So I love that because it wasn't me or my husband. And their interview was beautiful. So that interview turned into, hey, would you like to go look at a couple places? And so she took us right over. And
that was lo and behold, the second place. That was the first time she looked at a place, right?
It was.
So she kind of waited too long, didn't she?
Yes, 100%. But, we could only do as much as we could do. And then I also have, yes. And so then I also had some friends who are caregivers that do in-home care. So I made those phone calls, and we pulled them in just to give her extra hands-on until we could get the
Wow.
placement. And I'm telling you, Dave, it was like within a week we had him in that care home. So it was fast, but I would say it's not always that fast. And so you really do just, just
Sure.
check your boxes, get in there, do your tours. And some of them want you to put down a little, down payment or something, but just do it, because you just never know when you are going to be ready. And all the balls are already, like things are rolling. So
We're going to talk
when it's
about
time.
Carefolio in a moment, but you bring up
Okay.
a good point that sometimes you need to get them approved for Medi-Cal or Medicaid, before
Yeah.
you can afford. You need to make sure they don't own too much so they can qualify and this and that. Do you help them with that?
Okay, so you're right. There are different facilities, but I would have to say most of them they are cash pay. They want you to write a check. If you have long-term care insurance, that's beautiful
Yeah.
in our facility, because having my name attached, I can sign that paperwork and then you're eligible to use that money. But that is a question that comes up, is like, what are your finances? What are your resources? With my mother-in-law, we had to dip into one of their retirement savings, but it was perfect because it's going to be plenty for what he needs,
Good.
and there's no worries.
So she
But
didn't
some
need
people need.
Medicaid or Medi-Cal or anything like that.
She
had enough.
didn't, thankfully. Yeah, she's got enough. So they did plan for that,
But she didn't have a
which is
long-term
good.
care, right? Long-term care
Nope.
policy.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah. Fortunately, I
Yeah.
have one because I was, smart. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't. And
Yeah.
does your facility accept Medi-Cal or Medicaid, or you are one of the ones that don't?
Right. We do not, because
Yeah, not many
I
do.
think once you accept that, right, it's not very much. And
Right.
so you
Right.
can't run a small facility off of, I think it's like $800 a month.
Sure.
It's
And that's
not
what I
much.
tell people who haven't
Yeah.
gotten long-term care. So, well, Medicare will
Yeah.
pay. Yeah, well, you don't want to go where
Mm-mm.
Medicare is going to send you. You need to get a policy. And if you're in
Exactly.
your late 40s, early 50s, it's still not too late. They're relatively inexpensive. I'm only paying like $130 a month. Most of the years when I bought it when I was 49,
Oh.
I was paying $119 a month. So, I mean, there's no excuse for not having it,
Mm.
really. What else did I want to mention?
Yeah.
So you are very
Mhm.
experienced. I mean, if anybody wants to know anything about this, they should call you, and we'll give you your phone number out. But you took a step further. You actually invented and created something to help the caregivers who maybe are still at home taking care of their loved ones before they actually have to come to a facility. So explain that and how it happened.
Okay, great. So 12 years ago, I was 42 and
Wow,
was
you don't
helping
look
care
it.
for one of my friends who at 43, she ended up. Oh, thank you. Well, she passed away from pancreatic cancer, but she had two children, an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. Her husband was busy working, and we called ourselves Audrey's Angels.
Mhm.
And we took an off the shelf binder, put some papers in it so that we could create a continuity of care, which is very much a nursing term, but it's exactly what we did. So if I was in there taking care of her, I could write down what I just did. And then the next person that came in knew exactly where I left off. So there was nothing missing, and we weren't giving her too much medication or not enough medication. And the kids were well cared for, and her doctor's visits were, on schedule. And we had this thing organized, and it was in this little binder. So then years went on. My grandparents required a spiral bound notebook we put together. My aunt required a binder for her hospice care. Um, and then most recently, I actually used my mock up that I hurried up to finish because my other friend, she just passed away of some melanoma cancer.
Wow.
And she said, I can't keep track of my medications. Can you please give me what you're working on? I don't care what's done. I just need it. And she was 52 years old. Like, until the day she died, she was talking like you and I. And so what a gift to be able to think that that this organized, simple, and easy to use. It's very user friendly. You don't have to be a nurse to use it. I don't want people to think, oh my goodness, but you're a nurse. No, I made it super simple so anyone could use it for yourself if you're trying to keep track of your own health, even if you're well, you can use it. It's great. It's a gift for your kids because everything's in there, from all of your doctors, all your financial institutions, your advanced care directives, power of attorney, power for health. All the things are in there. Your caregivers numbers, a place to journal how you're feeling, a calendar to track your symptoms, tracking records for your blood pressure, vital signs, blood
Wow.
sugars. I've really, it's comprehensive. I thought of
You
everything
really
that
are a
we would
nurse, aren't
actually,
you?
yeah, it definitely came from my nurse heart and 28 years of experience. And so I felt this nudge. It just was like, Phyllis, you need to do this. Phyllis, you need to create this. Phyllis, just do it. And so over the last 2 years, I just wanted to also help caregivers realize this is not a body that's laying in a bed. This is a human.
Right.
And I think sometimes we forget about that. And I know that for a fact. And that's where burnout comes from too, is you just get caught up in the tasks at hand instead of the person, the human, the spirit that's in front of you. And so part of my little Carefolio has a spot for their picture. So it's like, put the picture there that when they were vibrant and young and youthful and, living life to its fullest, or whatever picture you want to put in there. But then it's also a section about me. So you list all the things, favorite colors, like what they did for a living, because that's important to know. Like,
Sure.
you can have a mechanical engineer or somebody who helped somebody go to the moon, as your patient or your, the elder that you're caring for. And that's huge. And they love, like, even with dementia, if you bring up old things, right,
Right.
from the
Right.
past, that's what they remember. They don't remember 5 minutes ago, but they sure
Yeah.
are proud of some of their things that they accomplished.
Favorite
So just,
songs.
yes, favorite songs. Yes. So there's something beautiful. And then also, like, what are they capable of doing themselves? And what do they need help with? And even a section on mental health, because that's very important, right? Is like, how do I need to talk
Sure.
to this person? So special needs kids, that's another, like, if you've got a young child at home with special needs, you can use this journal exactly for that too. Because when you need respite care or you have somebody come in, it's a beautiful book to hand off and say, look, everything's here. I
Yeah.
don't need to try to give this big, handoff.
Reinvent the
It's
wheel.
you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm afraid to ask how much this wonderful thing costs.
Well, it's $89.99.
Well, that's
And
reasonable.
oh my goodness,
It
I
goes on your
really do
phone,
feel
like
like
a phone app.
it's not yet. That is coming.
Working on that.
But
So
right
it's on your
now,
computer, on your laptop, or whatever.
yeah, yes, or your mobile device, because I realize younger people, everybody wants it just on their phone where they can just, touch. But if you've got, it's a beautiful journal too. It's gorgeous. The pages are very heavy and it's a binder. So you can open it up, take pages out, put pages in. So it
So this
has
is
all your
designed
medications.
for you to print it out and put it in a binder, yes?
It comes to you all ready to go. Like, because that's the thing is when you're in crisis mode and you need to care for somebody now, you need this now. So I deliver it directly to your house. You open it up and you start using it.
Oh, so it's
And
very, very user friendly. It's not, they don't have to know how to use a computer and go on pages on your computer. So they fill out all the information. I'm assuming you put it all together, send it
I
to
do.
them in a binder.
Yes, it's a beautiful box that's delivered. I love
Wow.
beautiful
For
things. And
$89,
so,
that's a bargain.
yeah, yep, it is.
And
And so
what if
actually, I'm
things
not,
change? You update them?
yeah, I'm just taking it one day at a time, Dave. We're launching it and I have refillable pages. So I felt like the things that they would need most would be journal entries. So I
Okay.
have but it should last them a good year. The binder should last a year, unless, of course, you're doing a lot of journaling or people have extensive medications that they're
Right.
using. Then you might need more of those. And so I have those two refillable right now. And we're just kind of seeing what the need is because I want this to help the caregiver. So I really do I would love to have feedback. And so that's why my hello@carefolio.com is my email. They have my cell phone. They absolutely can text me or call. But any kind of feedback would be wonderful because I want to just continue to, yeah, develop this
how
as
do
it
we know?
needs.
How do we know if we're caring for someone and we need this or we don't need it yet? Does it depend on how much we're struggling with, keeping track of the medication? Does it depend on, we're missing doctor appointments, stuff like that? I mean, is it for everybody or is it only for people who are feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, no, it is for everyone. So you could fill one out for yourself, Dave, and one for your wife. I have one for my husband and I that will be because like I said, it is a gift for your children. It's so pretty that you can put it on your shelf and it says Carefolios on the spine, where the kids would say, "Oh gosh, my husband and I are traveling right now, and so if something happens to us, because we know anything's possible." Then they know that binder, they just pull it off the shelf and it has all of our vital information there, all of our financial
Oh,
institutions, emergency contacts, so caring for the caregiver. The next page is the first page, but the next page is emergency medical information. So
hmm.
my husband's a fireman paramedic. He just retired too, actually. And he said, "This is beautiful. If you opened this up and handed it to us when we were called to the house, this is all we would need."
So even
It's,
though
it's
I'm a healthy caregiver, I should have one too.
yeah, you could have one too. Absolutely. And anything that doesn't apply to you, you just save it for later. Just pass it by, right? It's like
Yeah,
a
because you
buffet.
never
You
know what's
take
going to
what you
happen,
need. You never know what's going to happen. So
And then
it's
it's too late to
preventative,
go
right?
filling out all the information.
Exactly. Yep. You're preparing for
Yeah.
your future, honestly. And, but certainly, like my mother in law, I actually told her, my father in law was so advanced with his dementia, and he really is on hospice now.
Uh-huh.
And so, and in a care facility. So they're doing all of his documentation, but you could actually send this to the care home. But I told
Wow.
her, you need to fill this out for yourself now because she's turning 80. And it would be, you would think she's not 80, she's 70 or maybe even 65. The woman is amazing. But I'm encouraging her to fill it out for herself so that she's prepared.
Wow. I can't believe it. This is amazing. We've run out of time. It's is there anything that you wanted or hoped that I would ask you that I didn't ask you yet before we close this down?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I just want this to be an efficient way to communicate with all the people that need to be involved in a person's care. And I want it to empower the caregiver to serve the vulnerable with compassion, while offering opportunities for self-care. So as you turn the tabs of this binder too, I've put some really beautiful quotes because I want the caregiver, as they're taking care of the person or themselves, to just be inspired and just to have a little sweet spot in their day, because it's hard. You are in the trenches. That's what I say. But we need you. So as a caregiver, we need you, but we need you to take care of yourself
Amen.
first.
Amen.
Yeah,
Thank
in
you
some
so
way.
much. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome interview. Awesome information. Can't believe how fast our time has gone today.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
you.
Phyllis, for coming on the show. How can people reach you, questions, get a hold of the binder, etc.?
Carefolio.com. So it's
Carefolio.com.
CareFolio.com.
Got it. What's your contact information?
Okay, great. Yeah, so I have an Instagram account. It's Carefolio, Carefolio. You can also email me at hello@carefolio.com. And my personal cell phone is 805-598-9587.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you get a lot of responses from this show. Just a reminder to everyone out there, my number one best-selling book, Secrets from the Hammock, Uncommon Wisdom for Uncommon Times. It's spreading wisdom all over the world. Available wherever books are sold, and also my free membership website, caregiverdave.com, where you can also schedule a free 30-minute initial coaching call to talk about whatever you're struggling with. 30 minutes of wisdom can often resolve a debilitating problem. Again, caregiverdave.com. And don't forget, we have a Facebook group, Caregiver Dave. And it's a community of 34,000 caregivers, lots of tools, resources, videos, this radio show, and much more. And did you know that if you click the like or follow button on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this interview on, it helps us reach even more caregivers by improving Google's search engine algorithms. So a true heartfelt thank you to all my listeners out there all over the world for tuning in every Wednesday and making us the #1 caregiver radio show on the internet. So until next week, same time, same channel. May God richly bless you. Bye-bye.
Dave Nasani, the Caregiver's Caregiver, has just released his 6th book entitled It's My Life Too, Thrive to Stay Alive as a Caregiver. It was specifically written for caregivers who know they should be putting their needs first, but just don't know how. Dave is the sole caregiver to his wife, Charlene, since 1996. He knows firsthand what caregivers are going through because he is one. He now speaks all across the country, offering caregivers his amazing caregiver support package. Even the airlines tell us that in the event of an emergency, to put your oxygen mask on first before you help your child with their mask. They know that those who don't heed their advice often black out, thus becoming unable to help either themselves or their child. And caregivers are exactly the same way. It's My Life Too, Thrive and Stay Alive as a Caregiver will help caregivers who are neglecting their sleep, diet, and social life and learn to put their needs first. Pick up your copy today or buy one for your special caregiver. On sale everywhere and at caregiverdave.com.
Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again. Keep breathing, take it in and let it out. Keep breathing, it's gonna be okay. Believe in a power greater than what you are going through. When you don't know what to do, keep breathing. Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again.